Hi everybody. So today's video involves me and a tape measure. So we're going to do lots of measurements because I keep getting asking lots of questions on the Grand California. So things like, how wide is the bathroom? These are bits of information that aren't readily available in different places. So we thought we'd start with the Grand California. If you enjoyed today's video, let us know in the comments box below, and let us know more importantly if you want to see more videos like this particular one, because we could do because this is the 600, we could do the 680, and obviously we could also do as well things like the Ocean. And look around from on there as well and take some measurements of things like, for example, the kitchen worktop. Whether you need that or not, I don't know. You let us know, and if you do, we can then post it so that everybody knows, rather than just answering individual questions for you on Q&As and stuff like that. So with that in mind, the first one, and probably the biggest question that I get asked a lot, is what is the dimensions of the bathroom? So we're going to start with that one because that's nice and easy, and then we'll move our way around the vehicle and have a look at a few extras. As I said, this is the 600 version, so it's the medium wheelbase of the Grand Californias, and obviously the bathroom in here is exactly the same size as it would be in the 680, but the only difference being is the height is actually different. So obviously we'd have to do a separate measurement for the height that was in there, but as I said, this one is the 600, so you've got the extra room that's on the top from on there as well. So first measurement is shoulder width across, and for that we obviously need to take into consideration our cupboards on this side, which you'd have all your toiletries in. So that all the way to here is 58 centimetres, and that takes you right to the edge of the door frame here. Now if I turn the other way and go widthways from on here, this goes all the way across, so from here all the way across to the other side is approximately 81 centimetres, give or take a couple of millimetres on either side. But obviously the actual bathroom itself is a little bit wider when you get further down, because for example where you have the toilet unit that's here, so when you go all the way to the back of the wall to there, we're taking on then, that goes all the way then to about 80 centimetres. So you've got the extra one, so you've got 58 up here, and that increases to 80 when you're around in the bottom around the toilet area. And then finally height. So for anybody up there who is taller than me, so total height from floor to ceiling is 212 centimetres. Now that total height is up to where the skylight is. Obviously then it does come a little bit lower around the edges that's on there, but where your actual head is, that's your maximum height. So I'm approximately 6 foot tall, and as you can see from on here, there's plenty of headroom above me, so you could get a lot taller that's there. Obviously bear in mind with this one, because you've got your shower attachment on the side here, so if you're having a shower, your shower attachment will be in there, and obviously as you can imagine that's where the shower head is, and you can see my head from on here. And then finally the width of the actual door itself, and this is the door opening we're talking about, so that's 51.5 centimetres. Now obviously these measurements are me inside with a tape measure, so please don't be too critical. The measurements could be slightly off by a couple of millimetres here or there, and if anything I've probably gone under rather than over on those measurements as well, but they should be pretty accurate. Last couple of measurements, because I have had somebody ask me this, is about where you can put your toiletries at the back, and a lady was asking me because they were looking at actually getting bags that went in the side of it. On the bottom ones you've got about 10.5 centimetres, and the top ones, the depth in there is about 7.5, and that will be the same on both sides. And then your lengthwise between them, so the length of those, the ones on your right hand side are about 36 centimetres, and then the other ones on the left hand side are about 34 centimetres in length. So rear bed width of the vehicle, total width is 192 centimetres, that's the total width from one side to the other. And then the depth, so I'm going to take the depth at its shortest point, so its shortest point will be obviously with the bathroom that's in here, so that's the shortest width of the vehicle, and on there the actual mattress itself is 132 centimetres, and obviously that does expand slightly when you get over to this end of the bed, and I'll just move that over, and that comes out at 152 centimetres. So your main kitchen drawer, where you probably want to put cutlery and things like that, so the depth of there is it's just slightly over 32 centimetres. So if you were putting something in width-wise, 32 then would be about right. For those, and the width of that particular unit on the floor basis would take you to 41.5 centimetres. And don't forget, if you're getting a tray to go in, you have to take into account this bit that sticks out that's on here. So to give you an idea, that is about 3 centimetres from here. So you need to take 3 centimetres off for the actual width if it's something that's going to be in the way of that. And then your maximum height is 8.5 centimetres. So your two other drawers in the 600, which are down from on here. So the depth of this drawer is exactly the same as the front one that's on there as well, and the one below. So it's 32 length, 32 centimetres lengthwise between there. The width of the drawer is 21 centimetres, and your maximum height, so the maximum height that you could have something that will be in it again on there, is 25 centimetres up to that top edge that's there. And you will notice that these are all the same size, so these are all 3 centimetres in width. And just to confirm, those two drawers at the bottom are exactly the same. Another question some people ask as well is if they want to put a bowl in the actual sink that's here. So approximate size for your sink, and again these are all just rough measurements, but you're probably looking at about 26 width compared to a depth of around 21.5. I'd probably shave a couple of millimetres off those as well if you're trying to get a bowl that actually fits in there in the side. And then the maximum height of your bowl, it's obviously from the floor up, and it needs to be below these stoppers because this is where the glass actually comes in on, that's on there. So your maximum height is going to be about 15 centimetres. So we've got the full berth version of the 600. Your upstairs bed has a width of 118 centimetres, and the length of the bed is about 160 in length, and then on the far side here 188 centimetres. And your height at the highest point, which is at this side from on here, is 48.5 centimetres. So let's measure the table up, because you might need tablecloths and things like that. So the table at its maximum width is 54 centimetres. That's across this main section that's on here, and then its longest section all the way to the end here is 114 centimetres. Only a couple more things to go through with you on sizing wise. So let's have a quick look at the pockets over on the side here. So these pockets are, that particular one there is about 47 centimetres, and the one next to it is about 22 centimetres. And then they are quite deep actually when they go down into the bottom and you bring it up. So it's got a total height at the back of 27 centimetres, and that is pretty much the same on the other side as well. We've got two more pockets down here as well. For these pockets, I'm just going to measure the actual opening size of them for you to put in. Obviously, they are bigger than on those, but the opening itself is about 28.5 centimetres in height, and the width of it from in here is 27 centimetres, and the far one that's on here, 20 centimetres in length, with a height of 11 centimetres. Obviously, if you're actually trying to find something that perfectly fits inside those, you might just give a little bit of lenience for the actual plastic surround that's in there as well. I also get asked quite a lot, where would you put a TV in a Grand California? So a lot of people that I know who have Grand Californias, they tend to put the TV over the top of the headrest that's on here. So they'll take the headrests off and mount the TV, or they'll mount the TV to brackets actually on the headrest itself, sort of around this area. And a couple of reasons for that is, one, if you've got the satellite TV suctions, or the connections, for example, are usually located in here, so it's fairly close for it to be. Because of that, I'm just going to measure this area here to give you an idea, if you were to mount a TV, what kind of size that would actually be. And obviously then you could go and check that out and see whether that would be something that you would want. So the maximum depth effectively would be from your seat, if you were moving these headrests off, up to this level here. So that size, for example, depending on where you were, is approximately 37 centimetres. So that's from here down to kind of the top of your seats. But obviously on this main section that's on here, say if you took up just below the light that was in there, that would take you to the bottom of those about 48 centimetres. So that's just below here, all the way to the bottom of your seat. And then depending on the width of there, obviously depending how far you wanted to come out from there, but if you wanted it as a square box shape, for example, depending on your height, if you took that from there all the way across, so that would take you to the edge of there, the edge of there would take you to 48 centimetres, and that's from there all the way across to this end just underneath here. So So that just kind of gives you an idea of the space that would be available if you were to look at that. And as I said, a few people have actually mounted them onto this, so they've actually used like a DCIF that's actually onto the cabinet itself to actually mount a bracket that holds the TV then in place when it's resting on the bottom of the seats. Alternatively, I know there are things you can buy which locate onto the actual headrest functions themselves, and that would obviously allow the TV to come in here as well. There are different options that's in there, but as I said, the ones that I've seen with people that have had them fitted, this is where they've tended to put them. If you put it somewhere different, we love to hear from you. Pop it in the comments box below, or send us a picture or something like that would be great, and we can share that with other people as well. So I'm not going to measure these cabinets that go all the way along the back from on here, and there's a reason for that. Is because what I would advise you to do is once you've got a Grand California, obviously then you can devise what's best to put in these particular cabinets. Every single one of them is pretty much a different shape. They've all got something at the back as well, so there's all lots of different dimensions and things that you can get in. There's lots of different types of Tupperware and stuff like that you can put in to put these in along here as well. And I know a few of our viewers have done that with different things in there. So I'm not going to measure them because we'll be here all day measuring the different cabinets from in here, but there's lots of different things we're saying that you can put in there as they keep going along, and then your rear ones even go down into the corner as well, which you've seen before. So to finish off, let's have a look at the cabinets under the bed, and we'll do that from the rear of the vehicle. So in the rear here we've got 3 cupboards, which I'll take the quick measurements of those in a second. What we also have as well is, and we'll measure it out, is the space that's in the back here, which is quite a useful bit of garage space as well, that's in the actual vehicle as well. Yes, let's have a look at this one first, which is the easy one, because in here is where your gas canisters go. So really the actual space inside there will depend on what type of gas you've actually got in there and how much you've got in there. But the actual width of the cupboard itself is 65 centimetres, and the depth, just as the cupboard itself, is 37.5 in the depth. But as I said, with these, bear in mind, obviously you've got your gas appliances at the back, that's there as well. And you know, just to give you an indication, they're probably taking something like 15 centimetres up with that depth that's in there as well. So this cupboard, you're going to have at least one gas bottle in there as well. And then the height of this cupboard from floor to the actual opening itself is 65 centimetres. Obviously inside is slightly higher, and you've got up there to about 70 centimetres inside. So in your electrical cupboard that's in here, I'm just going to take the dimensions of the actual front part here. So height wise, from the floor to the top here is 70 centimetres, which is the same as the other side cupboards. The width is 40 centimetres, and the depth of this cupboard, because obviously we've got a bit of cutout that's in here as well, is 24 centimetres deep. You've got a bit more storage up where your electrical components are at the top that's on there as well, but obviously not a huge amount of space. And then your biggest cupboard, probably by far the one that you really are going to have a lot of storage that's in here. So this particular one, if we look at the height, so the total height of that cupboard from the very floor is 76 centimetres. The width of this cupboard is 46 centimetres, and the depth, and again bear in mind you have got a bit of the wheel arch that's in there as well. Your depth on that particular cupboard there is going to take you to 53 centimetres in depth. And then this particular space here, when you've got the back door shut, so looking from this space backwards that's here, it's almost like a little cupboard that's not a cupboard, because you've got stuff that's in there. So lengthwise you've got 41 centimetres in length from here to here. The depth, obviously I would advise you not to cover this section up here because it's to do with the ventilation and heating for the vehicle. So from there to your cabinets that's out to here is about 45 centimetres. And height wise, if you need anything in particular to put in there, you've got a height wise up to the top there of 62 centimetres. So there might be things in particular you want to put in there, things like portable gas barbecues you might want to be taking with you that you don't necessarily want to put in a cupboard, but you want to put, you know, in the back garage section that's here as well. Let's look at the total height. So from standing up in the main section of the vehicle all the way to the roof, and I'm going to take the highest point, which is pretty much where the shower unit is here. So if we put that down and take that up, so if you work on the basis of 212 centimetres as a total height, and so that does decrease at certain points. So for example, here at the back, your total height there is about 162 centimetres. And again, if you go all the way to the front, obviously we've got a height restriction that's here as well, and that brings us all the way down to 156 centimetres that's there. And final measurement we are, don't forget we've also got these boards that's here. Now these boards slot in to here, and effectively what they are doing is stopping anything coming further this way. So don't forget, your last and final bit of storage that you've got that's in the vehicle will be all of this section that's in here as well, which is lots and lots of space you've got in there. So you've got a total width on there of 70 centimetres approximately, and that goes all the way from the back of 126 centimetres. Well, I hope you found today's video useful if you're looking at a Grand California. If you'd like to see more videos looking at individual dimensions and things like that, pop it in the comments box below. If there's something we've missed that you'd like a dimension of, pop it in the comments box below. And obviously we'll look to the future, maybe doing this on something like the 680, which will give us slightly different sizes that's in the back section that's on here as well, and obviously the height of the roof, which is slightly different. And we could even do on things like the Ocean models as well. So if you have enjoyed today's video, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you don't subscribe, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.